30-minute mark, I go ahead and put on my trusty apron so that Casey knows how to divide these up for YouTube. So if you're watching this later on YouTube and you think, I don't really want to watch the whole hour, you'll know no apron means that we are doing classroom portion, and apron means that we are doing if we're going to be cooking, if we're going to be talking about if we're going to be talking about, you know, something fun, if it's, you know, if it's not the classroom portion, you know, it's sometimes, you know, it's usually something fun for the second half. So that's how you know. Also, at the 30-minute mark, everybody stop right now. So Julie just started the water challenge. The water challenge is going to be for August and September over on If You Have an Egg. So I agreed to sign up for 60, well, okay, after my first cup of coffee, okay, then I agreed to sign up for 60 ounces of plain water so that I can add back my 1 point for water before I switch to anything else. So before I switch to Crystal Light or Diet Lemonade or skim milk or unsweet tea or something like that, 60 ounces of water. So everybody stop right now and go ahead and drink your water here at the 30-minute mark. Okay, so we can all do with some water, okay? Everybody can use some water. So this is the second half of, I already forgot what the chat number was, chat number 283, and we've been talking about how to use, how to find and use your own strengths. So I think it was pretty clear that one of my strengths is creativity. So I think that people would say Kelly is very creative. I think sometimes it's a curse and sometimes it's a blessing. Sometimes the creative part in me does make me do the squirrel, and I'll run down a rabbit trail, a squirrel trail, whatever you want to call it, and sometimes I'll forget to circle back. But I also think, though, that is a strength that I have that helps me to be creative and think of some of these things that we do every week, okay? So this week, we are still talking about ways, even though we're winding down the summer, we are still talking about ways to save money. So this the summer of savings, we've been doing this all summer long. I think this is the 6th week, maybe 5th or 6th week, 5th or 6th week that we have talked about ways to save money, because let's face it, I mean, unless you were just like, I don't know, independently wealthy and somebody left you a gazillion dollars, I think all of us have figured out, hey, I got to slow down just a little bit this summer because these prices are getting crazy and they don't look like they're going to get any better anytime soon. So we've been talking about ways to save money. Oh, that's great, Lynn. But anyway, so we've been talking about ways to save money this summer. This week, we're going to do a 3-day shop your pantry challenge. So it's been a few months since I have actually gone through and shopped my pantry. When I say shop your pantry, I'm talking about pantry, freezer, fridge, wherever you keep food. So it's been a while since I've gone through and shopped mine. I think this is a great way to save money by using what you already have. We did talk about that last week. We were talking about ways to lessen food waste. And several of you nailed it. Several of you said, well, just eat what you have. So eliminate food waste by eating what you already have, and save money by eating what you already have. So this week we're talking about we're having a 3-day shop your pantry challenge. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I found in my pantry, some of the things that I'm going to make for this week, and some of the things that I'm going to have for this week. For this week's money saving idea, we're going to go shop our own pantries, freezer, refrigerator, you know, whatever. I'm pointing at myself too, okay? So it's not just you. I'm pointing at me. And, hold on a second. Oh, Debbie says, new way to save money. She has a meat slicer and she started buying turkey breast at Sam's and slices her own deli meat. What? So how much of you say, let's see, for sandwiches, she gets 3 pounds of meat now instead of 1 pound for the same price. What? That is fantastic. I'll go ahead and lock that right now. But we live in a land of plenty, okay? Almost too plentiful. It's made a lot of us, and I am pointing at myself, it's made a lot of us lazy about eating what we already have on hand because it's not what I want right now, or it's boring, or I wanted something different to eat. Okay? I'm pointing at myself too. So sometimes sometimes we live where it's too plentiful and we don't have to eat what we already have. So for 3 days only, just 3 days, for just 3 days, I'm asking you to step back from your land of plenty and eat what you already have and not buy anything else new, okay? No new groceries for only 3 days. Okay, so for this challenge, I'm making a list of things that I already have in my pantry, my refrigerator, my freezer, whatever, and I'm only going to make meals from what is already on hand. So no new groceries, none, for the next 3 days. Not going to go get anything, not going to go across the street, not going to go to a restaurant, only what I already have for the next 3 days. And not only is this going to save money, but it's going to help me with my goal to eliminate food, to further eliminate food waste. And I've already found things, that were there from the last time that I did a Shop Your Pantry, and I forgot that I had it. Okay, yeah, and Carol Lou says her family calls it living off the land. And her husband says they have more food in the grocery store. Seriously, yeah. Totally. Like this 3-day challenge, I could probably do a 3-month challenge. Maybe not 3 months. Well, probably. I could probably do 3 months. At least 3 weeks and not ever miss it. So this is just for 3 days. So here's the beginning of my list, okay? Because I am going to stick something in the air fryer. So I'm going to run through my list real quick, the beginnings of my list real quick, and then I'll flesh it out a little bit. So just off the top of my head, without even opening the door, I knew that I had frozen ground chicken. I have 4 1-pound bags of frozen ground chicken. And thank you, Julie, for sharing, telling me the secret to how to make that. We'll circle back around to that in just a second. I have frozen blackberries. I have frozen corn. I have frozen peas. I have canned green beans. I have canned green beans. I have canned any kind you can think of beans. I have pasta of all shapes and sizes, and I'll show you some of those here in a second. I have pumpkin frozen in half-cup servings from Super Cubes. I have marinara frozen in half-cup servings that I did in a Super Cubes. I have unmarked soup. What is up with that? I've been fussing at you all about marking things. I found unmarked soup. I think I know what it is, but what? Can I not practice what I preach? Anyway, unmarked soup in 1-cup servings that I had made in the Super Cubes. I have fat-free ricotta cheese that I forgot I had. I have shredded Velveeta cheese, a nearly dead end-of-season tomatoes, which we're going to work on first, non-fat plain Greek yogurt, fat-free cream cheese, blah, 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 blah. There's tons more, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of those, not get rid of them, we're going to get them ready, those end-of-season tomatoes. So I've talked about these before. I had some, these are like end of the season tomatoes. So that one still looks pretty good, right? This one already has a moldy spot on it, but we're going to get rid of that. And then this one, doesn't look fantastic. Okay, so my mother, if y'all haven't been here for a while, my mother was vegan, and she was very much into making sure that she used all of her fruits and all of her vegetables, everything out of her garden. And so this was one of her recipes, was to take whatever tomatoes were left at the end of the season, the ones that were looking kind of janky and you thought, well, wow, that just didn't, that really doesn't look too good, and go ahead and make something out of it. So these are the last of the janky tomatoes. And so all I'm doing on this first one, I'm just trimming off where it was starting to get icky. And then I'm going to cut it into slices. And so these don't have to be pretty. Sylvia, we have had so much rain that the tomatoes and the gourds that we have outside are ginormous. They are huge because we have had so much rain this year. And I'm just going to put these in an air fryer safe pan. But my mom used to make these every year, and I'm not a big like just eat it by itself tomato eater. Whew, Dusty still stinks. Yee. Shoo. He still stinks. Like I'm not that person that just picks up tomatoes and eats them. My mom totally would have. But even at the end of the season, they still get kind of janky. So I'm just going to cut these up real quick and put them I'm putting them in an air fryer safe pan. My mom would bake these in the oven. But for the sake of time, we're going to put them in an air fryer safe pan. Okay. So that's about it, because the rest of them are, you know, a little icky, you know, probably need to be gotten rid of. Then you just spritz them with a little bit of olive oil, and you can do this in the oven. You do not have to do this in an air fryer. Spritz them with a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of nutritional yeast on there. You do not have to use your nutritional yeast, but y'all know I use it on everything. My mom always puts some kind of sweetener on there. And that was something else that I had already had in my pantry, so I'm going to put that on there. And it just makes them taste more like candy if you do that. And then some seasoning. Okay, so since I just put a little bit of sugar on there, I think I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch the seasoning I'm going to use to, this is salt-free Dax, and it's Red Mountain Rub. And it has just a little bit of a sweet flavor, and it is really good on bacon. So we're going to put that on there. So that's already going to save me some money from not throwing away these tomatoes. So here's number one. End of season tomatoes. Don't throw them away. The little bits and baubles that are left over, I'm going to put out in the yard for the critters. But you're just going to pop those in the microwave. You're going to pop those in the air fryer or in the oven. And we're going to do those on 380 for about 15 minutes, depending on, it's going to depend on how big the tomatoes are and, you know, how well you want them done. Okay, so end of season tomatoes, that was one thing that I already had. I've got some yellow squash at home that needs to be done. That will be pan roasted. I've got every shape of pasta known to man. I don't know why I have all this pasta. I've got 100% whole wheat angel hair pasta. Oops. I almost killed Dusty with a thing of applesauce. Let me grab that. I've got this kind of pasta. I have fusilli from Trader Joe's. I have more pasta. Ooh, let's see. Karen says if I had a pie crust, I could make a tomato pie. Maybe. But I've got all these different kinds of pasta. And so I'm thinking, I could probably use, after these tomatoes are cooked, I could use them to make some spaghetti. And remember, and I'm not going to go get it because it's in the freezer, but I have marinara that I had, extra marinara that I had one day, and I poured it into the super cubes that I have shown you all 100 times, so I did not bring one out tonight. I poured them in the half-cup super cubes and froze them. Okay, I'll go get it. I'll go get it just because you need to see it. Hold on just a second for me. Do not go anywhere. Just in case you have not seen one of the super cubes chats, I will show it to you. So this is marinara. That is marinara sauce. And I just put it into the half-cup size super cubes. Let them freeze, and then after they freeze, pop them out, and then put them into a, Melinda says we won't get kidnapped. Thank you. And then put them in a freezer bag, and that way, if you need a half a cup of marinara, you just pull one of those out, heat it up, and you can go. So I'm thinking one of the nights, I might be using one of my assorted things of pasta, one of the half cups of frozen marinara that I have, some of these tomatoes that I'm cooking right now, and maybe some of the frozen ground chicken that I have. Let's circle back around to the chicken real quick. So, gosh, Julie, and seems like there was somebody else, maybe Debbie, I don't remember, but Julie for sure, and then Deanna had talked about doing like finding chicken, and they were appalled, and I don't disagree with them, but they were appalled at how much ground chicken was at the store. And so Julie bought just chicken breasts with nothing else in it, no additives, no fillers, no seasonings, no nothing. So she just bought chicken breasts, and then she ground her own. And so I did some of that a couple of days ago, and I have started a video for that, and I will show you how to make those later, but it was so stinking easy, it wasn't even funny. Okay, like top 10 easiest things that I have ever done. But I'm thinking that would be a good idea. I also have tuna. I have lots of tuna, and this happens to be albacore wild tuna. They also have skipjack from Wild Planet, We'll talk about that another day because these are all sustainable, wild caught, pole caught. So, you know, they're not using nets to fish for that. I always have nutritional yeast. I've pulled that back out. I have some pimentos, and I mentioned earlier that I have shredded Velveeta, and I have some non-fat plain Greek yogurt. So I'm thinking I might try making some pimento cheese, you know, at some point this week. I have several of these little kosher dill petite things. So I'm thinking, how fun would that be? Oh, these tortillas. I always have tortillas. So I was thinking, how fun would it be then to take a tortilla, the shredded Velveeta, or if I make it into pimento cheese, some of the tuna, or if I've cooked some of the ground chicken, melt that cheese on there, melt it in the air fryer, use one of the tomatoes, make me a tuna melt with tomatoes, and have some little pickles with it because I already have those. I need to eat those. I have cans of green beans everywhere. Apparently I needed to stock up on these at one time. I have cans of green beans. I have green beans. Oh, let me get my hand up here. I have green beans that we've canned, you know, in the canner. I have those kinds of I have green beans everywhere. I also have, blackberries everywhere. So I've got plenty of food, okay? Plenty to eat. Okay, while those are cooking, let's make something else. I also have applesauce, little containers of applesauce. That would be great with that tuna melt if I make those. But I also said that I had done pumpkin. So when I open a can of pumpkin, I used to end up throwing away part of it because I would open it, I would use however many third of a cups or half of a cups or whatever that I needed, and I never would finish the rest of it, and it would get really icky really fast. So also in the super cubes, and I have these over here thawing out, also in the super cubes, instead of opening the can and then just using what I needed and then chucking the rest of it, I don't know if you can tell because I've defrosted them, but these are also in the half cup super cubes. When I've been opening a can of pumpkin now, I go ahead and I use what I'm going to use, and then I put the rest of it into the half cup super cubes and freeze it so that I have it. So another thing that I'm going to make real quick, let me go ahead and get this started. So this is just regular pumpkin. It's not pumpkin pie mix. It's just regular pureed pumpkin. And again, instead of throwing away half of it, froze it in the super cubes. I'm going to go ahead and make some overnight oats for this week. So y'all know I like to do different things. We already talked about the fact that I'm creative. So for this week, I'm going to do something different. And Casey has got me all excited about the start of pumpkin spice season. And I know it's still hot outside, but we are going to pretend like it's here. So you do not have to have any size jar in particular. You can do, any kind of mason jar. You can do any kind of, you can do mason jar. You can do a plastic container. You can do a bowl. You can do whatever you want. Remember that for overnight oats, you need old-fashioned oats. You do not want quick cook oats. And I was, when I was snooping around in my pantry, I thought, you know what? I've still got, without even opening what I've put up there, I still have a half of a bag of old-fashioned oats from one of the other chats. So I'm going to make 3 kind of big things of overnight oats. And I'm going to make 1 teeny tiny one in case I just need it for a snack here at Casey Kitchen Center. And the recipe, all of my overnight oats recipes are already on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. So this just takes regular old-fashioned oats. And then while I was snooping around, I found a packet of Devotion Nutrition sweet potato pie protein powder. So I'm going to add, and I'm just adding the dry ingredients to these. So this is protein powder that was just sitting here. It was just sitting there. Who knows when I was going to use it? I don't know when I was planning on using it, but now look, it's used now, okay? So I just used something. So I eliminated some food waste. I'm going to do that. Then I've got chia seeds. So I'm going to put about a half a teaspoon of chia seeds in each one. Not so many in this little tiny jar. And I'll put a little bit more in that jar. That'll be for a bigger meal here, you know, here at Casey Kitchen Center. And then I'm going to mix the dry ingredients together real quick. Sorry for the loud noises. But again, these are all things that I already have here on hand, that I already had here on hand. Then I'm going to add to that the pumpkin. And again, this was just pureed pumpkin, straight out of a can. Put it into a super cube and froze it. I did it the half a cup super cube. Put it in there, and we're going to get ready for pumpkin spice season. And dole that out. So here, just while we're having the chat, I will have 4 breakfasts or lunches ready by the time that we get done. So there is that. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of sweetener to each one of them. And notice I'm not measuring. I'm not doing, I mean, this isn't even a teaspoon of the sweetener. It's probably about a half of a teaspoon of the sweetener. And then to that, again, these recipes are all already on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. To that, I'm going to add some non-fat plain Greek yogurt. And if I was measuring this out, it would be about a third of a cup. Wow, sorry for the very loud noise. It would be about a third of a cup of that. And that just really helps it to thicken up. And again, I did not think I liked overnight oats. So where are my overnight oats people? Because I know that there are some of you here. I really, really thought that I did not like these. And the first couple of times I made them, I kept thinking, what is up with this? These things are nasty. I did not like them. I didn't like the texture of them. And I just really couldn't imagine what anybody was talking about, you know, why. I just didn't know why they liked them. And once I switched to the regular oats, so once I switched to regular old-fashioned oats instead of the quick cook oats, made all the difference in the world. And then I had 1 container of the Core Power. Don't know what I was saving it for. But I'm going to add a little bit of it to each one. And then again, you just let these sit in the refrigerator overnight. I'm going to give each one of these a quick stir. Of course, they're going to be a little bit messy because I'm making them here, you know, in the container, but you can totally do this. You can mix these up. You could make this. These are all going to be pumpkin flavored. You can do, okay, Sandra loves overnight oats. Let's see. Caroline says she tried the overnight oats from a book, 30 grams of oats, 100 milliliters of skim milk, and I missed the rest of it. So I will go back and read that. But these are going to be, yeah, getting ready for pumpkin spice season. You could add chocolate chips to this if you wanted to. Okay, so Lynn's not a fan of overnight oats. So is it the texture, Lynn? Is it the taste? Have you tried it with the old-fashioned oats? Because I'm telling you, that made a huge difference for me. And sometimes if they end up just a little bit extra mushy, then I'll pop them in the microwave. Ooh, walnuts would be good. Yeah, so Sherry said walnuts. That would be really good in this. Yep, Lynn says it's texture. So Lynn, you might try it, and then you might just try popping them. You might try popping them in the microwave right before you eat them. Ooh, Sylvia says cinnamon. That would be good too. Okay, let me give this last one a quick stir. And it may need just a teeny tiny bit more oats in it. Where did I put those? Just a little bit more oats. That's the one that's going to be extra. That's going to be extra big. I'll probably have it like for lunch one day or something. Okay, so just a little bit more oats in that one. And then, because I do like things to be different, I had some pumpkin seeds. Maybe, if I can get the container open. So I had some pumpkin seeds. So in one of these, I'm going to put pumpkin seeds. So now that's pumpkin overnight oats with some pumpkin seeds. Sylvia said cinnamon. So let's put some cinnamon in one of them. I'll put cinnamon in that one. Okay. I said chocolate chips. Let's see if we can find some chocolate chips. Here are some Lily's chocolate salted baking chips. So let's put those in one. Okay. So now I've got one that's just plain. So I have one that is just, wow, those smell good. Woo. So now I have one that is just plain overnight oats. I could put a little bit of whipping cream or something on there. I've got one that has cinnamon in it. I have one that has some chocolate salted caramel flavored baking chips. And I have one that has pumpkin seeds in it. So look, me, remember, Kelly is very, and I said creative. So Kelly is very creative in what? 8 minutes. I just made 4 different kinds of pumpkin overnight oats. I used things that I already had. I didn't go buy anything. These are all things that I took out of the pantry, the freezer, the refrigerator, whatever, and they're going to be ready to go. So these will be ready to go for work this week. They're going to be yummy and fantastic. Saving some money. That tastes good. Saving some money, and let's check on those tomatoes. Perfect timing. They had 1 minute left. So let me show you how these are looking before you all run off. Give me just a second because this is super hot. Remember, whatever temperature you have your air fryer on is what temperature the food is going to be. So don't just grab it. And then there are those ugly, gangly tomatoes that we had. And look how pretty those are. Will that not be? I'm thinking those are going to go in some spaghetti. So I'm thinking, yeah, that some of this pasta with the ground chicken that Julie helped me make, I'm thinking that these tomatoes are going to go in some pasta or possibly on a tuna melt sandwich. Okay, but there you have it. Some perfect ways to use up things that you already have. Let's save money by shopping our own pantry. So I hope that you will join me in the 3-day pantry challenge. If you do, just go ahead and comment below that you're going to join me. I would love to know what you found in your pantry. I'm serious. This is all helpful to other people. I know some of you are thinking, nobody wants to know what I have in my pantry. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Because just you all shouting out a couple of things, I added things. Like I think I may have some walnuts. So I might be adding walnuts to this one. But just you all shouting out some things that you have or some things that you would do with these or, ideas that you would have. Seriously, it's going to help all of us together. So I hope everybody will try something. I hope everybody will do the 3-day challenge. Go ahead, start looking in your pantry and your fridge, decide what you're going to do. Post it because we would love to have some ideas, especially some money saving ideas. But thank you again for being here. Everybody have a fantastic week. If you are watching this later on YouTube, please go ahead and let that next video roll over. It is youtube.com, search If You Have an Egg. And if you are, oh yeah, and Debbie says, put some of those vital proteins, put some of those in those oats. Yeah, I could do that. I could go back and add those too. But y'all have a great week. I hope you will subscribe, and let that next video roll over, and go ahead and click that bell so you'll know when we have our next video. But y'all have a great week, and I will see you next time. Good night.